The Galactic Concord had been to many planets. They had met many different species, some peaceful, some not. But Earth was different. Earth was strange. Ambassador Turen of the Virexi Collective was in charge of the first contact with humans. He had studied Earth before coming. The reports were clear. Earth had dangerous animals, storms, earthquakes, and diseases. It had deserts, frozen lands, and deep oceans. It was not safe. Not at all. Still, humans lived there. More than 8 billion of them. They did not just survive. They built cities, flew in the sky, and sent ships to space. Turen did not understand. He was nervous as his ship landed outside one of Earth's spaceports. His assistant, Velna, was also confused. Why would anyone choose to live here? She asked. They were met by 2 humans. One was a woman in a dark blue uniform. Her name was Captain Nora Blake. She had short brown hair and strong eyes. The other was a tall man with glasses. He smiled warmly. "Welcome to Earth," he said. "I'm Ethan Cole, a linguist. I'll help you with the language." Turen nodded slowly. "Thank you. We come in peace." Nora smiled. "That's good to hear." They entered a building made of glass and steel. Inside, there were pictures of Earth. One showed a huge storm with lightning. Another showed a volcano with lava. A third had people climbing a tall, snowy mountain. Turen stopped and pointed. "Why are these here?" "They show danger." Ethan laughed. "Yes, but they also show adventure. Humans like to challenge themselves." Turen did not understand. Why would a person want to climb a freezing mountain? Why run toward a storm? Later, they sat in a meeting room. Captain Blake offered them water. Turen looked at it carefully before drinking. "I have questions," he said. "Of course," Nora replied. "Your planet is very dangerous. Why do you stay? Why not move to a safer world?" Ethan answered first. "Because it's our home. We were born here. But your people go into the ocean with sharks. You jump from the sky with nothing but fabric. You walk on lava rocks." Nora laughed. "Not all of us, but yes. Some do. We like to explore. We want to know how far we can go." Turen looked puzzled. "You enjoy danger?" "Not exactly," she said. "But we don't let fear stop us." Velma spoke softly. "Even your weather is dangerous. We read about hurricanes and tornadoes." "We build stronger houses," Ethan said. "We learn how to survive. We prepare." Turen looked at the pictures again. One showed a child playing in snow. Another showed people laughing as they ran from ocean waves. "You are not afraid." "Sometimes we are," Nora said. "But we face it. That's part of who we are." That night, Turen sent a message to the Concord. He wrote, "Humans live on a world that should be uninhabitable, but they are not weak. They do not just survive. They thrive. They choose to live here." He looked out the window at the stars. Below, Earth spun slowly, covered in clouds, water, and life. It was not a peaceful world, but it was full of people who refused to give up. Turen still did not fully understand, but he was starting to. And he knew one thing for sure. Humans were unlike any species he had ever met. They were strange, brave, and curious. And maybe, just maybe, they were something special. The Concord Observation Program began 6 months after first contact. Scientists from many alien species came to study humans. They stayed in space stations above Earth, watched videos, and read human books. Some even visited human cities. Every day, they saw something new. Every day, they were surprised. Veltan was one of these scientists. He was a Norkari biologist with green skin and 3 eyes. He believed in logic and safety. To him, humans made no sense. He watched a video of people swimming in the ocean during a storm. The waves were huge, and the sky was dark. People laughed and jumped into the water. "Why?" Veltan asked. "Why do they risk their lives for fun?" His assistant, Lyra, shrugged. "They seem to enjoy it." Velton shook his head. This planet has earthquakes, floods, fires, and animals that eat meat, and yet they smile. They build homes in dangerous places. To learn more, Velton visited Earth. He wanted to talk to real humans. His first stop was California. There, he met Olivia Grant, a firefighter. Olivia was tall and strong. She wore a red helmet and a suit with yellow stripes. Velton asked, "Why do you fight fire?" "It is dangerous." She smiled. "Because people need help. Fires won't stop, so someone has to face them." "But you could be hurt." "Yes, but I train for that. I trust my team. We save lives. That makes it worth it." Velton wrote in his notes, "Humans value others' safety more than their own." Next, he traveled to Oklahoma. There, he met Logan Myers. Logan was a storm chaser. He drove into tornadoes to study them. Velton was shocked. "You go asterisk toward asterisk tornadoes. Most would run away." Logan laughed. "Yeah, it sounds crazy, but I love it. Tornadoes are wild, powerful. Watching them helps me understand nature, and it helps warn others." "But is it not scary?" "Of course, but fear keeps you sharp. It's not about being fearless. It's about doing it anyway." Velton nodded slowly. Humans were strange. They did not hide from danger. They faced it, studied it, even chased it. Back on the space station, Velton showed his findings to other scientists. He showed videos of people climbing icy mountains, diving deep into the sea, and running races through deserts. "They choose this," he said. "No one forces them. They call it sport or science or fun." Another scientist, Krell from the Zarn species, asked, "Do they not value safety?" "They do," Velton said. "But they value experience more. They want to test themselves." Lyra added, "And they learn from it. Every fall teaches them something. Every mistake makes them stronger." Velton thought about that. On his planet, risk was avoided. Safety was most important. But humans seemed to grow from danger. It shaped who they were. Later, Velton sat alone, watching the sun rise over Earth. The planet looked calm from space. Blue oceans, white clouds, green land. But he knew better. That calm was only on the outside. Below, storms raged. Fires burned. Animals hunted. And humans lived through it all. Not just lived. They explored, built, laughed, and dreamed. He remembered Olivia's strong voice. Someone has to face the fire. He remembered Logan's smile. Fear keeps you sharp. Velton still had questions, but now he had respect. Humans were not like other species. They did not seek safety. They sought meaning, even in danger. He opened his log and wrote, "Earth is a planet of storms and fire, but its people are not afraid. They run into the wind. They walk through flame. They are curious, brave, and full of hope. They do not just survive the danger. They choose it." Then he closed his log and looked back at Earth. It was, truly, a death world. And yet it was full of life. The Concord Council met in a large round hall on the Central Space Station. Leaders from many alien worlds were there. They came to talk about Earth. The question was simple but serious. Should Earth be called a Class 5 death world? A death world was a planet full of danger. Only the strongest species could live there. Class 5 was the highest level. No planet had ever been given that title before. Some members of the council were afraid. Others were confused. They had read the reports. Earth had wild weather, deadly animals, poison plants, and diseases. The ground shook, the air burned, and the sea pulled people under. Still, humans lived there. Not just lived. They grew, created, and even explored space. High Speaker Yelor of the Trinary opened the meeting. "We must decide. Earth may be the most dangerous planet with intelligent life. Do we give it the Death World title?" Some members agreed quickly. "It is clear," said Jomek of the Hillary. No other species would last there for even a week. Others were not so sure. The humans are not violent by nature, said Speaker Deln. They build schools, care for the sick, and make music. Then Commander Bryce Harper entered the room. He was tall, with short black hair and a calm face. He represented Earth's United Space Agency. The Council had invited him to speak. He looked around the room, then nodded. "Thank you for allowing me to be here," he said. "I know our planet seems strange. It is true. Earth is not easy." The Council watched as he placed a small device on the table. A hologram came to life. It showed humans building houses near volcanoes, walking on frozen lakes, and flying through lightning storms. Another video showed children learning to swim in strong waves. Some showed firefighters running into burning buildings. Others showed people helping each other after earthquakes. Bryce said, "We don't pretend our world is safe. We know the risks. But we also know how to survive. More than that, we know how to grow in hard places." Krell of the Zarn asked, "Why not move? Why not find a peaceful world?" "Because Earth is our home," Bryce answered. "And because we don't run from challenge. We face it. We learn from it." The Council was silent. The videos showed more than danger. They showed strength, kindness, and courage. They showed humans working together, smiling, even laughing in the middle of storms. "We're not asking you to understand everything about us," Bryce continued. "We just want you to know that we're not crazy. We're human." The room stayed quiet for a long moment. Then one of the younger delegates, a blue-skinned diplomat from Cora Prime, stood up. "I once feared humans," she said, "but now I respect them. Maybe danger is not always bad. Maybe it shapes strong hearts." Others nodded. Some clapped. Slowly, the fear began to change into something else: respect. The Council took a vote. The result was clear. Earth would be named a Class 5 Death World. But with that title came something new. The humans were no longer seen as weak or wild. They were seen as strong, brave, and determined. After the meeting, Bryce stood alone in the hall. He looked at a large window showing the stars. Behind him, Deln approached. "Commander," Deln said, "your people are unlike any we have seen." Bryce smiled. "We get that a lot. You are welcome here. But we may call on you for help in the future. There are other dangerous places in the galaxy." Bryce nodded. "Then we'll be ready." He looked back at the stars. Earth was just one small world among many. But now, the galaxy knew the truth. Humans did not fear their dangerous planet. They made it their home. And that made them something special. After the Concord Council named Earth a Class 5 Death World, many alien species became more curious about humans. At first, most aliens were afraid of them. They thought humans were strange, maybe even dangerous. But soon, that fear turned into something else. It turned into respect. On the Concord's Central Space Station, more humans began to arrive. Some were scientists, some were soldiers, and some were workers. Many aliens watched them closely, wondering how they would act. They quickly learned that humans were different, but in a good way. One day, there was a problem on a Glarn freighter docked near the station. A fusion leak had started. The radiation levels were rising fast. Most species would run away, but one human stepped forward. His name was Marcus Hale. He was an engineer from Earth. He had brown hair, rough hands, and a big smile. He wore a suit to protect him from the radiation. "I'll fix it," he said. The Glarn crew looked shocked. "It is too dangerous. The leak could kill you." Marcus just shrugged. "Well, someone's got to do it. Might as well be me." He entered the ship, found the leak, and sealed it. He even cracked jokes while he worked. "Reminds me of fixing my mom's oven back home," he said through the radio. When he returned, the aliens clapped. No one had ever seen someone face danger with a smile before. Marcus became a hero, not just to the Glarn, but to everyone on the station. Other humans, like Lily Brooks, also proved their bravery. Lily helped fix a broken heat shield on a damaged transport ship during a space storm. She didn't wait for orders. She just grabbed her tools and went. The aliens started to trust the humans. They began asking them for help in dangerous missions. Humans were not just brave. They were skilled, fast, and clever. They thought differently. When others saw problems, humans saw challenges. Soon, a saying started going around the station. If it's too dangerous, send a human. Alien scientists asked to work with human researchers. Human doctors shared their knowledge with healers from other species. Human rescue teams trained others on how to stay calm in an emergency. Captain Nora Blake and Ethan Cole returned to the station to help with new programs. Nora trained alien officers on survival. Ethan taught classes about human culture and behavior. In one class, a young alien asked Ethan, "Why do humans run into danger? Why not wait for help?" Ethan smiled. "Sometimes there's no time to wait, and sometimes we are the help." Even in small things, humans were different. They laughed loudly, cried openly, and shared their food with others. They told stories about climbing mountains and fighting forest fires. They talked about falling down, getting up, and trying again. Their stories made others think. Maybe bravery was not about being fearless. Maybe it was about doing what's right, even when you're scared. Soon, humans were asked to join special teams for rescue and exploration. They were sent to dangerous planets, broken ships, and unknown places. Each time, they went with open eyes and strong hearts. The fear that had once filled the station was now gone. In its place was a new feeling: admiration. Velton, the Norkari biologist, watched all of this with great interest. He once thought humans were foolish. Now he saw them differently. He wrote in his report, "Humans are not fearless. They feel fear like the rest of us, but they choose to act anyway. This is not madness. This is courage." On a ship heading into a plasma storm, the crew hesitated. The captain asked, "Who will go outside and fix the antenna?" A human named Jake stood up. "I've got it," he said. "It's too risky," someone warned. Jake smiled. "That's why I'm going." And with that, another story began. A story of humans who did not wait for safety, but instead walked straight into danger to protect others. They were no longer just people from a death world. They were heroes among the stars. Months passed, and the galaxy had started to change. More species now wanted to learn from the humans. They saw that humans were not only survivors, they were problem solvers, fast thinkers, and fearless helpers. In a far part of the galaxy, a planet called Dravon 4 sent out a call for help. The planet had strong winds and wild heat waves. A science base on the surface had gone silent. The Concord feared the worst. They needed a rescue team. But no team wanted to go. "The storms are too strong," said one officer. "Even our best ships might not land." Then a voice said, "Send in the humans." The team was small but ready. Captain Nora Blake led them. With her were Ethan Cole, Lily Brooks, Marcus Hale, and a young pilot named Ben Carter. They flew through the rough winds in a special dropship made on Earth. The ride shook the ship hard, but no one panicked. "Feels like flying through a hurricane back home," Ben said, gripping the controls. "Good," Nora said. "Then you know what to do." They landed near the broken base. The air was hot and sharp. Sand flew in every direction. The base looked empty. Doors were broken. No lights were on. "Stay close," Nora said. "Keep your helmets sealed." Inside, they found signs of damage. Some rooms had collapsed. Equipment was burnt. But in the lower level they found survivors. 5 scientists from 3 different alien species. They were weak, low on air and water. "We didn't think anyone would come," one of them whispered. "We're humans," Lily said. "Of course we came." They gave food, patched wounds, and checked oxygen levels. But the storm outside got worse. "We can't leave yet," Ethan said, looking at the sky. "The winds will rip us apart." Then we wait, Nora said, and we protect them. For 2 days, they stayed inside the broken base. They fixed walls, shared stories, and kept everyone calm. The alien scientists were shocked by the humans' calm spirit. "You smile even in this place," said a scientist with silver skin. "Smiling helps," Marcus said. "We do it a lot." When the sky cleared, Ben prepared the ship. It was still risky, but they had no choice. "Everyone in," Nora ordered. The ship rose through the hot air and flying sand. It shook, but Ben kept it steady. When they reached orbit, cheers filled the cabin. The Concorde leaders watched from the command center. They saw the humans land safely with all survivors. The aliens on board hugged the humans and thanked them again and again. "You didn't have to come," one of them said. "You could have said no." "We don't leave people behind," Nora replied. "That's not who we are." The story of Dravon 4 spread across the galaxy. It was shared on screens, in news reports, and even in songs. The phrase, "send in the humans," became something more. It meant hope. On the space station, Velton watched a report about the mission. He wrote in his notes, "Humans do not look for safe paths. They look for the right ones, even if those paths are full of fire." Young aliens started to wear shirts with Earth flags. Some painted human quotes on their walls. Others tried human food and listened to human music. Earth culture was spreading. But humans didn't let it change them. They still trained, still worked, and still laughed together. They knew the galaxy was wide and full of trouble, and they wanted to help. At the end of the week, Nora stood with her team on the deck of the station. They looked out at the stars. "Another mission done," Ethan said. "And many more to come," Nora said. They stood together, a small team from a wild planet. And they knew the truth. Their world was hard, but it had made them strong. They came from a death world, but they brought life, courage, and light wherever they went. It was the start of a new cycle in the galaxy. The Concorde Council had called for peace talks between two rival planets, Thelos and Rivon. These two worlds had been fighting for years. Many had tried to stop the war, but no one had succeeded. This time, they asked the humans to help. Captain Nora Blake was chosen to lead the peace team. With her were Ethan Cole, Lively Brooks, Marcus Hale, and Ben Carter. The council believed that if anyone could calm the fire, it was the team from Earth. The meeting was held on a neutral moon, in a hall made of clear crystal. The air was tense. Soldiers from both sides stood with weapons, watching each other closely. "We're here to talk, not to fight," Nora said as she walked in. She wore a simple uniform with no weapons. The humans followed her lead. The Thelos leader, a tall figure with green skin and gold eyes, stepped forward. "Why are humans here? You are not part of our war." Ethan answered, "No, we're not. But we know war. We know pain. We want to help end it." The Rivon chief, smaller but sharp-eyed, said, "And what do you offer?" "Words." Marcus stepped up. "We offer understanding. On our world, we've had wars too. We've made peace with those we once called enemies. We've learned." The two sides sat down, but it was not easy. They argued. They shouted. At one point, a soldier even raised a weapon. But Lily moved quickly and stood between them. "Please," she said, her voice calm. "You've lost too much already. Let's not lose more." Her words made them stop. Slowly, the talks began again. The humans shared stories from Earth. They spoke about peace after pain, about rebuilding cities, and helping old enemies become friends. Ben showed them a short video of children on Earth, some from countries that once fought, now playing together. The alien leaders watched quietly. Something in their eyes changed. "You humans," the Thelos leader said, "you live on a world full of danger, yet you still find hope." "How?" "Because we choose to," Nora replied. "We choose peace, even when it's hard. We believe in second chances. The talks lasted for 3 days. There were moments of anger, but also laughter and silence. On the third night, a storm hit the moon. Power was lost. The hall grew dark and cold. The humans acted fast. They brought lights from their gear. They helped serve food and even sang songs to keep spirits up. One soldier from Philos whispered, "I thought humans were strange, but now I see you're just like us. Maybe stronger." When the power came back, something had changed. The two sides looked at each other, not with hate, but with new eyes. The next morning, both leaders stood side by side. "We will try," said the Revon chief. "We can't promise peace today, but we will take the first step." "Together," said the Thelos leader. The room clapped. The first treaty paper was signed with the humans as witnesses. It was not the end of the conflict, but it was a start. Later, as the humans prepared to leave, Velton watched from the crowd. He had followed their journey for months. Now he saw something new. He wrote in his report, "Humans do not only survive, they heal. They change the hearts of others. Even in war, they plant seeds of peace." On the ship back to the station, the team sat quietly. They were tired, but proud. "One small step," Ethan said. "That's how all big changes start," Nora replied. And out in the stars, the word spread again. If there is a fight too deep, a wound too wide, or a war too long, call the humans. They don't give up. They find a way. The galaxy was watching. Stories of humans had reached every star system. They were called the brave ones, the helpers, the strange people from the death world who ran toward danger instead of away from it. But not everyone like that. A group known as the Trin Collective believed humans were too bold. They feared humans would change the galaxy too much. The Trin were old, cold, and careful. They believed in control. To them, humans were chaos. So they made a plan. They sent a false signal from a planet called Myrex 9. The message said there were lives in danger after a mining accident. Of course, the humans answered the call. Captain Nora Blake and her team arrived fast. The planet was rocky and quiet. Too quiet. "Something's wrong," Ethan Cole said. He checked his scanner. No life signs. "Still, we check it out," Nora said. They landed near a fake mining site. As soon as they stepped out, a trap was sprung. Energy walls rose around them. Ships appeared in the sky. The Trin had them surrounded. A voice came from above. "Humans, your time is over. You are too dangerous, too wild. You must be stopped." Nora stood tall. "We came to help. We always come to help. Why trap us?" "Because you do not belong," the voice said. "Your kind makes others act without thinking. You teach them to take risks. We cannot allow that." But the humans did not panic. They stood close, calm, and ready. "We've faced worse," Lily Brooks said. "Remember the acid storms on Valor 3? And the ice tunnels on Freylon," Marcus added with a grin. Ben Carter looked up at the ships. "They don't know who they're messing with." The Trin sent in drones to take the team, but the humans fought back. Using tools, wires, and parts from their gear, they created a shield. They didn't have big weapons, but they had brains, courage, and teamwork. They held the line long enough to send a signal. Back on the Concord station, Velton saw the alert. He rushed to the council. "They are trapped," he said. "We must help them." The council hesitated. It could be a trick. "No," Velton said firmly. "If we do nothing, we are no better than the Trin. The humans stood by us. Now we stand by them." For the first time, ships from many worlds flew together. Glarn, Norkuri, Yuvin, and more. They came not just to save the humans, but to defend what the humans stood for. They broke through the Trin lines. A huge battle filled the sky. In the middle of it, Nora and her team held their position. When the Allied fleet landed, the humans were still standing. Tired, hurt, but alive. The Trin were defeated. The Council banned their group from all future gatherings. Peace returned, but something bigger had changed. Now the galaxy truly saw what humans were. Not just brave, not just strong. They were a spark, one that could light hope in the darkest places. At a grand meeting weeks later, a monument was built, not of a hero or a weapon, but of 5 humans holding hands with 5 aliens. On the base it read, "From the Death World, they came, not to conquer, but to care." Velton stood near the monument, his report complete at last. They asked why humans choose to live on a death world. He said to the gathered crowd, "But the better question is, how did such a world create people so full of heart?" He smiled. "Maybe it's not about the danger of the world, but the strength of those who rise in it." Nora, Ethan, Lily, Marcus, and Ben stood quietly at the back. They didn't like praise. They only liked the work. "What now?" Ben asked. "We keep going," Nora said. "There's always someone to help." And with that, they walked toward their next mission, carrying Earth's fire into the stars.